It's hard to get lost. It's so hard that I'll probably quickly figure out some way to find myself. Until now, finding myself was already having an idea of a person and fitting myself into it. I'd incarnate myself into this organized person and didn't even feel the great effort of construction that is living. Hello, Clarice. Hello. Hey, long time no sit down video. I thought we could have a little chat because I'm trying to figure my life out. It truly is. I mean, how can someone know everything at 18 but nothing at 22? I find that I know even less than I did when I was 22. I wanted to start, I don't know if this will be a series or what, but I just spent a few days trying to get my spark back, particularly because I felt a spark over summer. So I know what gets me there. But how can I incorporate that into my daily life? So I've narrowed it down to 3.5. I don't know if I'll cover all 4 topics for this video. A little bit is just my own musings and opinions. Some of it I actually have sources, I actually have data, I actually have science on my side. So yeah, there will be a mixture of vlogs in here. There will be a baking break where I will bake pumpkin muffins. They were amazing. So yeah, I also am starting up a cold. So I'm going to talk to you for a little bit here, and then I think later tonight I'm going to make a cup of tea and we can just have a chill nighttime chat. So as a sneeze is approaching, welcome to the video. So happy to have you here. Let's try to figure out this thing called life. Okay? Okay, hi. So, starting off strong, know thyself. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, how can you know everything at 18 but nothing at 22? And as I sit here at 33, I can tell you you're only gonna know less. The more that you know something, the more that you know you don't know something. Kind of like the wisest man is the man that knows he's an idiot. I really believe that. I feel like I've gained a lot of wisdom as I get older, but that wisdom, a huge chunk of it is just knowing that we don't know. I don't know. But I want to start this first section off with this idea that came to me over summer when I was feeling joy that I hadn't felt in so long. And I realized that it's because I essentially time traveled back to my teenage years. Over summer, if you don't know, I flew back to the US to go to a bunch of My Chemical Romance concerts with my friends. I truly felt like I was back in my teenage self, my teenage mindset, and it was just so joyful. And I feel like ever since college, honestly, I've kind of felt like my hobbies need to be productive, or not productive, but good for either myself or the community. So if maybe my hobby is tennis, it's good for my health. Maybe my hobby is reading, it's good for my brain. Maybe I plant seeds in my spare time to help the bees come back. I don't know. I kind of got in that mindset and I forgot that just pure joy and honestly being silly, like the amount of just goofiness that having specific fandoms, like the goofiness that comes into your life through that is so good for you. And I just feel like I forgot that. Part of me just wants to take a moment to encourage you, if you have a semi-frivolous hobby or obsession, please healthfully enjoy that. I really felt like I was back to myself, to my favorite version of me. Just want to put that out there before I continue anything. But other than My Chemical Romance, you guys know that my main hobby is reading. I'm never not reading, honestly. But I want to, for this portion of the video, I want to give you guys a little exercise actually, because one thing that I found with fandoms and going back to my teenage self was I remembered the things that I gravitated towards before I had so many algorithms feeding me things. Obviously, in my childhood, we had different ways that things became trends. But I feel like nowadays, I'm just really feeling like, do I like this thing? Or have I just been shown this thing a million times? Does the algorithm really want me to like this thing? So my exercise for you, and the exercise that I did for myself last week, is go to a bookstore, Go to the library, a digital library if you're on Netflix or whatever. Go to a museum. Try to find a piece of media, whether it's a painting, whether it's a book, a magazine, a movie, a TV show, that you have not heard of through the algorithm, that wasn't recommended to you by someone on social media. If a friend has told you in real life, or if you just look at it, you read the summary and you're like, ooh, man, that sounds really great. Spend time with it, watch it, look at the painting, learn about it. That was something that was really fun for me and just reminded me of how weird I was as a kid. In the bookstore, I went to the like young adult section and found all of the old vampire books I used to read. If anybody read Cirque du Freak, you get me. And like, why did I stop? Why did I veer away from, like, why don't I read more horror? Yeah, I just leave you with that exercise. And this idea really came to me because of this particular section in my most recent Lispector read, where she's talking about how she feels lost, and so she just finds herself with an already formed idea of a person. So you can think of, like, you can go on Pinterest and write an aesthetic and you can follow it to a T, and you can essentially fit yourself into an already formed idea of like a cool girl or a cool guy, something like that. And you miss the, quote, great effort of construction that is living. So the idea of living is an act of construction. You are building yourself from the ground up. And if we just kind of keep algorithmic recommendations and kind of live how other people tell us to, we're missing out on that great construction that is life. So I hope that if nothing else, that little section of the book scratches your brain a little bit. I underlined this entire thing. The next part of part one, section B, is space the hell out. Get out of your head. Know thyself by just sitting with the self. Probably the most common way of doing that is journaling. I am not the best resource when it comes to journaling. I have tried. I'm good at journaling on trips because I feel like I only think of journaling as recording my days. This podcast, Wild Geese, was talking about different ways that you can journal. And one way is writing your journal in third person. So Cari woke up today and did this, or like Cari's been worrying about this. And I tried this exercise for a week. Honestly, if you like writing but you can't journal, try this. It felt like I was writing a book. It also helped me just like visualize my day. It helped me step outside myself so that I could see myself more clearly. Overall, if you're going to try journaling, if journaling has not been for you, highly encourage you to try that technique. Again, I'll also link down below that podcast, because the way that she talks about how journaling isn't just a record, it's a way to kind of put your thoughts on a page and sort them out, not just like today I did this. Really, really wonderful resource. But I think my favorite thing to do to kind of get out of my head and sort through everything is to go for a walk without listening to a podcast. If I'm going on a walk for exercise, I will listen to music or I will listen to a podcast. But if I'm going for a walk to just kind of simmer down, I actually either only listen to like instrumentals, or I don't listen to anything at all. I put my headphones in and I just don't have anything in. And I'll put some more information maybe on screen, but there is science backing this idea that your brain, when it is scrolling versus your brain when it's resting, they're very different. So if you are bored and you pick up your phone and you scroll through TikTok while you're waiting at the doctor's office or something like that, your brain isn't taking a break. You might feel like, oh, I'm being lazy, bed rotting, doing nothing. Your brain is firing at all cylinders, especially because oftentimes on TikTok, especially, it's just like emotion after emotion after emotion. Like you might watch a sad video and then a happy video. So your brain is just doing a lot. Versus when it's resting, when you are staring into space, you know, your brain really needs that. Get to know yourself by letting yourself just be itself. If that makes any sense, just be still, take a break, take a breather. And that leads me to our next section, which we are going to journey into together after the sun sets and I get some tea in my system and in my throat. See you in a sec. Alrighty, Moomin is here to save the day. Welcome to part 2. Time? What am I naming this? I've mentioned this before in a video, but a lot of my anxiety stems from my negative relationship with time. I always feel like I don't have, is someone needing help? There's a light flashing on the roof of the building over there. Okay, that's going to be really distracting. Sorry if I keep looking past you. There's some kind of a bat call happening. Okay. Anyway, I either think that I have... Jesus. I either think that I have too much time, too little time. I'm not spending my time wisely enough. That's why I have trouble taking my silent walks, is I feel like I could be spending this time learning something, finding new music, like listening to a podcast, expanding my worldview, whatever. So I find that it's difficult to slow down. And when I mentioned that in a vlog, I think it was like a year ago, a lot of you guys resonated with it. Sir, I know some of you need to hear this, but get off of social media. Get off of short form social media. Stay here. Stay here. Watch my videos. Short form content and scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, whatever else you use. Our perception of time is warped. That's why it feels like if you wake up in the morning and you scroll on your phone for 30 minutes, that 30 minutes is gone in the blink of an eye. Versus if you wake up, you make breakfast, that 30 minutes, you have so much more time. I need to hear this too. Okay, I don't practice what I preach. How do I get off of social media? Let me find the quote I'm looking for. Hold on. Oh, sick. What fate. I opened it to the correct page. All right, I'm gonna read you. I didn't love this book. Pure Color, Sheila Heti, but I loved this quote. Actually, I loved a lot of quotes. I just kind of couldn't read it as an entire book. Anyway, she doesn't know why she spent so much of her life thinking about trivial things or looking at websites, when just outside her window, there was a sky that was not trivial. People once valued the sky, but only because they had nothing better, because they didn't have websites. It was hard to tell which was right. Either the sky was more valuable than a website, or a website was more valuable than the sky. If she gathered together the amount of time she spent looking at websites and the amount of time she spent looking at the sky, then her life was clearly answering which was more valuable to her. When I read that, I was like, ow, guilty, because I love the sky. I love the moon. I know all of us who watch this channel are the people who go, ooh, look at the moon. When you see the moon outside, we look at our screens much more than we look at the moon. We've got to admit that. So which one do we value more? Just an interesting thought. And when I try to get off of social media, I always think of that quote. Hope that helps. But my main tip for getting off of socials, because when I find that I struggle the most is in the morning. I use the excuse of like, oh, I'm in a different time zone than my family and friends. I need to check my notifications right when I wake up in case something happened. Nothing ever happens, first of all. And it's never urgent. My friends in the US are asleep when I wake up, so why do I need to immediately check the notification? It's a lame excuse that I tell myself every morning. But I learned something ironically on TikTok, but it is backed by neuroscience, basically talking about how the first few choices you make when you wake up kind of sets the tone for your whole day. If you just roll over, grab your phone from your bedside table and start scrolling, you're immediately feeding your brain dopamine, you're feeding your brain fast-paced information. Like we said, how your brain doesn't rest, it suddenly gets inundated with a bunch of different emotions at the same time. And you're also being fed things without thought or without effort, right? So one tip that I got from this guy is get up and brush your teeth before you look at your phone. And something about that, making the choice to get up, brush your teeth, that helps your mind understand that, okay, today we're going to be productive. We're going to be making decisions. Just that slight change. And then bonus, if you make your bed, that also is proven to up your productivity throughout the whole rest of the day. So I love a game. I'm very competitive, even if it's with myself. So I kind of make a game of it in the morning. Not every morning, not most mornings, I'm gonna be honest, but I make a game of it of how long can I go. I get up, I brush my teeth, wash my face to get me as long as possible before I inevitably check my phone, because
I mean, my work is on my phone. Like, excuses, right? We need our phones. We can't get off of them. Try to do, like, make yourself a little checklist for the next morning. Just little self-care things you need to do anyway. I'm not asking you to do like a 30-minute yoga routine, and just see how that affects your relationship with your phone and just kind of your productivity throughout the day. So yeah, that is my main tip for my biggest time suck, which is social media. But what do you do with that new time? This time that you have found. I find that I turn to socials because I'm bored. How do you keep time exciting? And my tip for that is try once a week to do something new. Life can get very monotonous, especially if you're working a day job. When you have a routine set, you find kind of Groundhog Day, you're repeating the same days over and over and over again. Try to find a way once a week to make life a little different. In the city, like in Seoul, it's so easy to do that. But if you're just living somewhere where there's not a whole lot going on, or you don't have access to it, you can still do a lot. Which brings me to our baking segment, because I am currently obsessed with having themed nights. I don't like going to a place that has a theme, because then I get really intimidated and way too in my head. But if it's just in my house, if it's just a theme for me, hell yeah. Watch Twilight, make veggie burgers, and I don't know, what would be a vampire snack? They don't eat pasta for Bella, you know? Pick a movie, pick a food. You can even get dressed up in your own home, just for yourself, you know? So I will leave you with my pumpkin Halloween themed baking extravaganza. And this, I will link that recipe down below. If you have an air fryer, get on it. This was delicious. Okay? See you. Okay, hello. I have supplies. I need to get in uniform. It's Halloween. It is September 21st, but Halloween is a state of mind. So I have a can of pumpkin puree and that itch to start watching Halloween things. Let me change. Okay, we are making pumpkin chocolate chunk muffins today. The candle of the day, white pumpkin. Mood set. So, as I mentioned, or as I will mention, why did we stop doing themed things? Why did I stop doing themed things, I guess? I was never a birthday party kid because my birthday's on a holiday, so I never really had a kind of traditional birthday party, but I remember loving seeing what other people would come up with. And I think that even if it's not a birthday or an event, I think it's just nice to kind of go a slightly extra mile to make something feel like an event. So we're gonna try and do that today. It is so bright. It was like a perfect gloomy day today for this, but let's get it going. All right. I usually do my baking in a rice cooker, which we know is hit or miss. Today we're gonna try to do it in my air fryer. What do I need? I need my recipe. Hold on. Oh, that smells amazing. This was not a good plate. Okay, and while I'm thinking about it, one of the funniest themed parties I've heard about recently, I was scrolling on Instagram, I suppose, as one does, and this girl was talking about how her and her roommates were like famous for their college parties, and they used to throw chaos parties. They would give everyone a rule. Like they would set rules for the party in order to make it chaotic. So they were giving examples of like, they gave someone the rule of like, you must stop conga lines from forming at the party. And then they gave someone else the rule of you must start a conga line at the party. I don't know, it was just all so funny. If I can find it, I'll link it down below. I feel like no one told us explicitly that, you know, you stop playing as an adult, but I feel like a lot of us did. I think it's not that I stopped playing, it's that I just like stopped getting opportunities to play, maybe? But I think you'll see it later in this video when I kind of talk about community and friendship. But Chedin, Alex, and I recently had the Summer I Turned Pretty watch party, finale watch party, and we like had themes to our snacks. Like just giving something a little bit extra time is so fun. Really doesn't take any energy. If anything, it gave me more energy. Also, shout out to the tea place that I went to in Ljubljana last year.
I'm getting mileage out of this pumpkin spice mix. I know I'm supposed to mix the dry into the wet, but this is not the bowl to be adding anything into it. So I'm going to, oh, we're fine. We're so fine. I don't have chocolate chips. That's the air fryer going. So I'm just gonna crush up some chocolate bars. Last but not least, distribute them into the baking cups and fry for 12 minutes. Okay, let me make some room. 6, 7. And speaking of like getting into a flow state, literally the only thing that is running through my head right now is, am I filling these up too high? And that stupid song that I played and is now stuck in my head. Like, I've got nothing. No one else is home up here. Voila! See you in 10 minutes. Guys. Oh. These look amazing. Okay, hold on. Look at that beauty. Okay, I'm gonna let it cool. This one just fell and I broke it. It is time. Oh, I could cry. Just a touch crispy on the outside, so soft on the inside. Crack the muffin. You didn't get any chocolate in it, but it's really great. Not too sweet.
Yeah, I would even finished it.
Wow.
Thank you. Wow.
Man who doesn't like dessert. Next order of business. He thought just pumpkin candle. Pumpkin spice time.
And speaking of loving a theme, loving a gathering, it leads us to our next topic. Human connection. Oh my God.
This is one for yours compounds.
My job is actually pretty solitary. I think other YouTubers would agree with that. And one thing I really, really miss about having an office job is just having guaranteed human connection, regardless of the quality of human, because there was a rough patch. There were a rough couple years in that office. But still, just even if they're annoying, having human interactions is so, so important. And I feel like, again, I have this horrible relationship with time where I feel like if I were to add an activity to my week, I would be overbooked. But I recently, before my injury, I started taking Pilates classes and I did group classes instead of individual that I had been doing. And it was so nice, even though I could only talk a couple minutes before and a couple minutes after class, because otherwise we would be just like in pain, sweating, trying not to die. Thank you for my wonderful mat classes, by the way. I miss them very much. But it was just so lovely to like meet new people and just have like a very simple conversation. So I highly encourage you to look for events in whatever you're interested in. So for me, the one thing I'm so excited about if and when we move back to the US is the ability to go to book events, going to book talks and author signings and things like that. I'm just salivating. I cannot wait for that to be a reality. I'm also so thankful for the book events that happen here now. I think the English bookish world is only continuing to grow and become more social here in Seoul. So if you're looking for anything, there is the Seoul Silent Book Club. Their founders are also really good at sharing information on their Instagram and stuff like that of other events. There is a bookstore in Sode Village, I'll also link it down below, that has really wonderful events in English, French, and Korean. Just whatever you're into, just try your very best to look for ways that you can have face-to-face human interactions. If it can't be face-to-face, like try and get on a Zoom call, like try and get on a real-time chat with someone, not like just texting. I feel like that is also a weird time warp where your focus is never 100% on a conversation. Anyway, that's a topic for another time, is just online communication and how it's really messing us up. One thing I did last week was, instead of watching The Summer I Turned Pretty and texting my friends about it as we're watching it, we gathered for the finale, again with a theme. We had themed snacks. Alex was really into it. I honestly was watching Alex more than I was watching the finale. It was really funny. But yeah, just like finding ways to spend time with human beings is so important. And I'm actually going to read you another quote. This is a conversation that Kurt Vonnegut had with his wife. And he said, he's telling his wife he's going to go out and buy an envelope. Oh, she says, well, you're not a poor man. You know, why don't you go online and buy 100 envelopes and put them in the closet? And so I pretend not to hear her. I go out to get an envelope because I'm going to have a hell of a good time in the process of buying one envelope. I meet a lot of people. I see some great looking babies. A fire engine goes by. I give them a thumbs up. And I'll ask a woman what kind of dog that is. And I don't know. The moral of the story is we're here on Earth to fart around. And of course, the computers will do us out of that. And what the computer people don't realize, or they don't care, is we're dancing animals. You know, we love to move around. And it's like, we're not supposed to dance at all anymore. It's so easy to order groceries to your house sometimes, and I get that, but sometimes when you go to the grocery store, you see something funny, you see something new, you talk to the nice grandma at the checkout counter. That's kind of the reason why I don't use my coffee maker. Honestly, I love going to a cafe and just speaking to a human, even if it's just saying thank you. It's not just about drinking coffee, you know, it's about just like looking another human being in the eye and sharing like a few seconds on this earth. And I think that really struck me of like, you know, as someone who exists mainly online and like I wouldn't have a job if there weren't for the computer and social media, I do think that we're kind of spending a lot of time connecting with people through a screen. But if you can find a way to connect to people face to face, wouldn't that be lovely? So there you have it. That's really all I've got to say about Part 3. Make some friends, you know, look somebody in the eye and smile. Oh my God, today, successful foreigner encounter. It's kind of like a running joke in Korea that when you see other foreigners on the street, they either don't make eye contact or like you get kind of a weird look. And I know 99% of the time it's because we all have just like that resting stony face. We're not expecting to smile at a random stranger. But this time, today, because I know that I've done it. Like, I've always done it like a double take and I've smiled like too late and then the person's already passed me, you know? Today, this girl, we like crossed paths and we both like just looked at each other like, bleh. And then we both did a double take at the exact same moment and smiled. So, success. Yeah, I always give other foreigners the benefit of the doubt for that because I'm always deep in here when I'm walking around. So, that is Part 3. Okay, I haven't taken a single sip. Oh, perfect temperature. Okay, I don't have much to say for Part 4. We're gonna wrap this up right now. Health is wealth. What else is there to say? I have been through, mainly I just want to say thank you. How about that? This summer, starting around June, I have had for the past 3 or 4 months the strangest time in my body. I have had very weird health stuff going on. As you guys know, I had like an injury that stopped me from being able to walk, and then my skin acted up, and I had just like a bunch of like every month I had a new really strange symptom that I've never experienced before. I think we're good. I went to the doctor. I would just like to say, I actually got one comment this morning asking about my skin because my skin, we were going through it. I've never had acne really in my life, and my face, I had like painful cystic acne, which I don't know how to deal with, you know, and where the fuck did it come from, you know? I only had one comment over this entire summer, unless you're blocked, in which case I didn't see your comment. Only one person this whole summer was like, what the fuck is wrong with your skin? I would just like to say, thank you so much, because I really did not understand how much, obviously like physical pain, I understand that that is something that you can't really get off your mind. Like that was walking to get coffee, you know, I had to kind of weigh, is it worth it because of how much pain I was in? So I understand physical pain, but kind of just the mental strain of having acne was kind of wild. Like I especially because my job, like I look at my face all the time, you just feel kind of helpless. And I don't know, it was just nothing I've ever experienced before. And I really thank you guys for not saying anything, because I would have gotten even more in my head about it. But yeah, man, health is so, you just take it for granted if you're in pretty good health, and I definitely did. So just take care of yourselves. I feel like we nowadays are kind of encouraged to push ourselves to unhealthy limits. I'm seeing that Monster is coming back as a trend, like the energy drink. We're encouraged to just be like over caffeine. It's okay to be like caffeinated and anxious as long as you get your work done, you know? Not to like be scary, but we are seeing like younger people getting more severe health issues that usually are affecting people much older than them. A lot of stuff to do with your stomach, things like that, your colon. Eat well. If you can, like, that's one thing I really changed this summer, is like I really focused on making my first meal matter. I also love breakfast, but sometimes I just skip it, you know? Yeah, just really focusing on nourishing yourself and taking care of yourself as best you can, because it's just really scary to feel out of control in your body. You feel like you're doing everything right and doesn't change anything. So yeah, I feel like getting my spark back, a huge part of it was really like stopping and taking control of my health and figuring that out. Did I figure it out? No, but it seems like we're in a better place. So anyway, yeah, my cold medicine is working. Kicking in. This feels real good, speaking of health. And yeah, I'm sorry for this rambly video, but I just kind of had some things I wanted to get off my chest. And if you stayed to the end, thank you always. I hope that the turning of the seasons is treating you really well. And I hope that if you're going through any health, mental or physical thing, that you aren't beating yourself up about it, and that your things start looking up. So yeah. I will catch you guys later. Recipes and articles and stuff in that podcast in the description. And the cold medicine is coming in fast. So I'm gonna get in bed. Love to you always.